So you might be wondering why this is back out. Well, it's because I got some parts in. Namely, some speakers, and more importantly, an appropriate optical drive for it. It's not clean, but it's clean enough and purportedly works. So we'll see if it actually does, and if it does, we'll get it installed, get the speakers replaced, and we'll also have to reinstall a CF card because I ended up borrowing it on the G4, and I don't really want to tear that thing completely apart again to get at it, even though it's not working. So we'll just put a new one in here and reinstall the operating system anyway. Still can't get a bezel. There is one available on eBay right now, but they want, in my opinion, too much for it. It's mostly intact. It's got a few broken pieces, but the fact that it has a few broken pieces means that it's going to start falling apart, and I do not want to risk having it shipped and having it show up in a million pieces. If it was completely intact, I might take the chance, or if it was new, I would absolutely take the chance, but we'll deal with that. I mean, yeah, it sucks seeing that crack there and there, but nothing I can do about it for the time being. But that's fine. Let's go ahead and get these things installed. But first things first, we're going to have to fix these two pins that I had to kind of bend out of the way to get the traditional ID cable in there so that we can reuse the proper one. So I got to remember how to get this whole darn thing put back together. But before we do that, obviously I've got to replace these speakers, and let's pan up here. As you can see, it has definitely got some rotting around it and barely being held in place, so we'll get those replaced. Now again, with these replacements, now they do look identical, but they're thinner overall, and I'll show a better example once I have it removed. So you have to stuff something behind it, otherwise it'll rattle around. And I believe I just need to disconnect this clip, and I think, yeah, that should be it basically. And then, unfortunately, because it's got some sort of silicon seal around it, I have to be broken open to get inside. And I don't know if I should reseal it or what. I think I've got some silicon caulking that might work. I'll have to check. Let's see if this will do. If not, then I'll probably grab a knife or something and cut it off camera. Too bad there wasn't like a pull tab or something that could just separate it. Actually helps if you take the screw out first. And there. Now we will have to reconnect these wires. I don't know if they're soldered on or if they can just be pushed onto the tabs. And again, like I said, there's going to be a gap in between the speaker and the mounting hole now because of the fact that it's much smaller. So that's the magnet. So there's the speaker again. Here's a better look at how destroyed it got, plus me making it worse by disassembling it. So okay, they do come off. And now I got to figure out how I want to handle the seal and everything, and like I said, what I want to stuff behind here. Maybe some foam or something like that. I've got a bunch of just random stuff laying around. Something will work. I'll be back. Alright, so I'm going to try to use these little anti-static foam pieces that I've got. Not sure which will work better. Try and, bridge the gap there. I also picked up some of this silicon sealant, just basically silicon caulking, but a smaller tube of it, to try and go ahead and reseal this. But first I've got to give it a cleaning. You've got some of the foam residue and stuff on there, so I'll go ahead and give this a good cleaning. Take the other speaker out too, do the same thing with that, and then we'll proceed with reassembling everything. So half of them came out perfect, and the other half, the silicon just got too stuck onto it, and I scraped off as much as I could, but I could not get all of it. It's really especially difficult to do it around the ring and everything. You can see it on the other half too. So basically what's going to happen now is this is going to have to be reinstalled into the housing, and there's a groove there, almost like a slot, and you've got this protrusion sticking out here. That just sits there, and it sits up against here, and that's basically all there is to it. But you can see the gap that's there, so I'm hoping to cut this in half and just push it behind, it'll be enough. Alternatively, I can take some of this and compress it and push it down too. So the other thing I'm gonna have to do is put a little bit of the silicon sealant around here, so this has something to stick to, and also to absorb some vibrations and stuff like that. I think that's why they had it around here as well. So let's do that next. So I tried to do as much on camera as I could, but it's really difficult to do it. So to do around this area here off camera, and I'm going to do the next one off camera for sure. But I think it should be enough. Let's see. I'm getting it all over my hands too. That should be enough though right there. And then you just got to reconnect the wires. And fortunately the tabs are marked. The red one for red obviously, and then the other one is black. Pro tip, reinstall the cabling first and then. So we have to route these here, and we will put a dab of silicon here to seal it as well. And even once I've got this reassembled, it's going to have to sit for at least 2 hours or so, which is fine because we have other things to do on this Mac anyway. Now, this is probably not going to be enough for 2 of these speakers, just because of how far down this can possibly go. Yeah, so that's going to be enough to hold one back, and even then, it's not perfect, but it should be enough, especially once I get the screw installed. Some people have used like wood, plastic, things like that to keep it in there. I think that'll suffice though. Now let's get this separate piece here. And then looks like I didn't get enough caulking in there, or sealant, or whatever you want to really call it. So I'll just do it from the outside. And then I'll do a better job cleaning up off camera, of course. Okay, I'm gonna do a cleanup of it, get the other one done, we'll let them sit for a couple hours and go from there. And well, that's as good as I'm gonna be able to get it. Like I said, I gotta let it sit for about 2 hours or more to completely dry and adhere, but it should be good. That's okay, we'll move on to getting the optical drive and the CF card and everything installed so we can have an operating system. That's going to take a little bit of time and go from there. So one of the things I've been struggling with is how to properly mount the CF to IDE adapter. Yeah, a lot of people like to use double-sided tape and tape it down, and that could work. But I came up with this. This is a tray from an SSD that I just cut out to make the adapter fit. And I'm going to put a couple of screws through here with some nuts on the other side. And same thing, I've already marked off these holes to be able to mount it kind of like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just poke some holes through off camera to make it a little easier. And what I'm going to have to do first is mount this to that using just some machine screws and nuts. So it should be simple enough. So I don't even really need the nut necessarily. It's on there pretty securely, but I'll still do it just to be safe. That should work just fine. And I can still get access to the CF card. Janky, but that's what this channel is known for. Of course, the bigger take on this is going to be, and I've got enough of duct tape on here, it should be sufficient to keep things from shorting out. I'll even put some tape on here just to be on the safe side. There, borderline paranoia, but it'll work. Now, of course, it's worked just fine. Screw it into the plastic first, and then we'll put a nut on the other end. And tighten for now, and then I'll go back later and tighten them better later. In fact, I think only two should just be enough. I mean, it's not like it's a mechanical driver, it's going to be moving around much anyway. Oh, whatever. It'll work. Need to make sure this will still fit. So for some reason I lost audio here. I don't know why this clip has 0 audio on it, but as you can see, I've got all the cables there and everything, and now I'm going to test fit the optical drive. Should be fine. I have to finagle the wiring just a little bit, but it does go in, and then I just have to secure the drive into the mounting bracket itself, and that should be it. And now we'll take a look at the speakers. It's been almost a day since I applied the silicone sealant around it, and they're pretty good. I mean, I didn't clean it up perfectly, so there's a little bit of like silicone residue you can see, but it's fine. It's going to be on the inside. You're not going to see it anyway. And now we just have to try and mount it back on. I struggled a little bit with it because it's plastic mounting onto a metal bracket, but I did manage to get them in. Get a different angle for you guys. Maybe we'll just do a test fit. I think it'll be fine. Okay. I gotta figure out a few things here. Like that. And then I don't really have a place to put this. Did not think that one through. Hopefully that will do, because I don't really have any other place to put it. Gonna reinstall the RAM though. So all that's left now is to put the bottom cover back on. Oh, and the I/O shield, or the RF shield, I should say. And then we'll fire it up and see if it works. Or maybe I should do that before I put it back together. That's probably smarter. There's a little bit of glare on the screen, but we're just testing now anyway. Sound, no buzzing, no rattling. It's not gonna be able to boot because there's no operating system on there. Of course. Let's see if a display comes up. It does. Flashing folder icon. And now the moment of truth. I hear it reading. Or trying, at least. It's probably not designed to run sideways like that, but... Nope. We're good to go. So I'm going to reassemble everything next. And go from there. So I didn't film the actual installing of the RF shield because I had to fit around some cabling and I just didn't want to mess around with it too much more. But you do have to be very mindful of the speaker wires so that you don't pinch them or slice them. The edges of the RF shield are fairly dull. Apple did a decent job of folding it over and filing it down, but there are some sharp spots. So one thing that I'm going to try to do, and I don't know if it's showing up on camera or not, but you see this giant fingerprint, thumbprint, handprint, something that seems to be like etched in. I don't know if it's from oils or what, but I'm going to see what I can do about that, because that's, even though it's covered up, it's kind of annoying that I know it's there. So I just tried like a magic eraser and some IPA and it's not making even a dent, and I don't want to sit there and scratch it or anything like that and potentially cause future corrosion. So, well, I guess since it's hidden, I'll just have to live with it. But time to get the bottom cover back on and the back cover back on. And I think that'll be it. So the long screws go here, the medium ones went here, and these short ones go down here. So, and I need to double check. I just want to make sure it's not caught up on anything. That should be it. That's an assembled, reassembled iMac G3. All right, now that it's reassembled, I'm going to go ahead and install an operating system on there, make sure everything is still working, and wrap up this video. All right, so got the operating system installed. Sorry about the scrolling line. Can't really do much about it. I try to adjust the shutter speed, but I can't fine tune it, so not much I can actually do. But let's verify one final time the optical drive works. Feeds the disk just fine. Spins up. And there it is. So a successful repair. Also, we need to, is there anything that'll play sounds without me having to install anything else? Audio. Need to verify the buzzing. And there is no buzzing, so I'd say successful repair. Other than the bezel, of course, but like I said, I can't do much about that right now. Hopefully one day I'll be able to find one and go from there. Let's make sure it ejects. Yep, there we go. So now that I have this thing working, I gotta figure out what to do with it. I'm trying to make a space to display all my retro computers, but I don't have that yet. Focused a lot of my energy and effort and funds into my game room, so I gotta start from scratch for a computer collection, at least display or something. I don't have any other free rooms in the house to use, so that's that. But yeah, this will probably be the last time we see this iMac for a while, unless, again, I find another bezel or some other project comes along. But what do you guys think? Happy with the repairs? I am, but if you guys aren't, let me know what I could have done better. If you have any other suggestions or anything, any leads on a bezel, let me know. Otherwise, like the video, do the usual. If you didn't, do the usual. Subscribe, don't. I appreciate it if you do, but it's not obligated. And that's all there is to it. Thanks all. I'll catch you later.